Welcome to Stop Whining About Real Estate. Join us as we chat, sip, banter, and wine with the best in the biz. Grab a glass of your favorite vino, sit back, relax, and let's wine together. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Stop Whining About Real Estate. Today, I am here with my guest, Eliana Blech. She is the broker of Signature Select. I am so excited to have you because not only are you an amazing broker, but you're also become a personal friend. With me also is my co-host, Emmanuel St. Germain, and I'm Sarah Birnbaum. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Love that you're here. And you're our first girl.
First female on the show.
Ooh, finally, we got some estrogen up in
Look
here.
at me breaking records.
Thank
I'm
God.
so excited.
It's been so male-dominated, and I've just been, dying to get a woman on here.
Well, I'm happy to be the one.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sarah. Let's get your intro, get your questions. I know Sarah's got some feel-good questions that she likes to get. I tend to be a little more on the serious side with the questions.
So we can go into real estate. Emmanuel will do that and all the things that are going on now. Let's do some feel good. So I know you personally, but not everybody does. Obviously, you're a real estate powerhouse. In addition to real estate, what is it that you love to do with your time? I know that you're pretty passionate about a couple things. So let's start there.
That's always my favorite question because I think that that's the one that I always instantly forget everything I do all day.
Yeah.
Aside from real estate, I'll say my biggest passion is that I co-run a mentoring program for soldiers in the IDF that suffer from severe post-traumatic stress disorder from their time serving. And so it's called Israel Heart to Heart. I'm one of the founding members. We've been around for about 7 years now, and that takes up a lot of my time, but in the best way. Aside from that, I live in Highland Beach, so going to the beach all the time, Florida lifestyle. I'm the oldest of 4 girls, so seeing my sisters, spending time with them, and yeah, I think that that's about it. I just like living life.
And go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, let's address that part too, because the audience doesn't, if they don't know who you are, if they're not watching, if they're just listening, let's go over that, because one of the things that we absolutely love about you, apart from being an amazing real estate agent, is just how advanced you are for your age. And I will pay you the ultimate compliment. You are far more advanced at your age than I was there. If I had started my mortgage journey as early as you have, we would be much further ahead. So kudos to you. You're crushing it. And so talk about that, because it's certainly not easy to break the mold when you're young into a space that, people typically want you to be experienced at. So kind of discuss a little bit about that, please.
Journey into real estate?
Yes.
Let's do it. So I got my real estate license, I like to say, is the happiest pseudo accident. I was 18 years old. I was a freshman at Florida Atlantic University, and I had founded an organization called Hillel Career Accelerator, which was an on-campus group to pair students with jobs and internships through FAU. And one of the things that I had realized initially was that I went to school in Boca. And for those of you who might not realize it, Boca is just such a hub for different careers and business professionals. And so I felt like while other people were at a different college or different college experience, I had the opportunity to start myself off at such a young age. And so that's what I did. With that organization, I started getting asked to attend a lot of different networking groups and networking positions to help with the pairings. And for me, I was on a pre-law track. I wanted to go into divorce law. Since I was in maybe 3rd grade, which makes no sense. My family is all happily together. My parents are married for so many years, but it was what I thought I'd be good at. And that was really because I felt like I was a very logical, focused person, and divorce law I thought would have a lot of emotion behind it, and I can bring that logic into the picture. And so at the time, I was going to all the networking events. My father approached me and said, look, you want to find a way to differentiate yourself. Real estate's really a low barrier to entry. You can get your license pretty quickly. You're 18, so you meet all the criteria. Aside from obviously the course and the exam, why don't you go ahead and do that? You never have to sell a house if you don't want to. And I said, perfect idea. I'll look really cool. I'll have a really fancy business card and I don't have to work. That is great. And so I did that pretty quickly. I was 18. I got my real estate license and everything kind of took off from there. I found my brokerage. I met my now business partner, Ben Schachter. My interview with him, I expressed the same sentiments that I'm sharing with you, which is I really want a business card. I think it'll look fancy, but I don't want to sell houses. He said, perfect. Let's do this. And he ended up becoming a great mentor and now an even better friend of mine. So that was kind of my journey and how I found real estate. Happy accident, but it worked out very well. And obviously a lot of hard work went into it from that point to where I'm at now.
So I luckily I didn't throw you off track, but you made me smile very early on into the dialogue because you mentioning about you founded something else, and it's like 3 different things by the age of 18, and because if my math is correct, 7 years of what you're doing with your mentoring program, like you're clearly a self-starter. You're clearly a powerhouse woman that's going to do amazing things. And I think that's why I look up to you, and I'm so proud of you as a friend.
Thank you.
To see everything that you're doing. And so along with that, now all of a sudden we get into real estate. And by the way, I think that one of the reasons also there's you and there's a few other people that I have in mind that are part of your brokerage and partnership with Ben, that you have listened to, like so many people, you can tell them exactly what to do and they want to deviate. They don't follow the course. And what I found is that the most of the successful agents at Signature, the Signature family, are the ones who actually listen and follow the instructions. And it's okay to ask questions. There's nothing wrong with asking questions, but sometimes usually it's actually the opposite because you're actually really intelligent, but usually sometimes someone who's not as intelligent, because the smartest people in the room often ask why too many times rather than just do. And what I've found, and we love Aaron Oken too, I think he's also an individual that he's listened to everything that Ben says and you guys follow it, and because of it, you're wildly successful. So tell me a little bit about learning from Ben and what that's been like for you.
Sure. So that's actually how I accidentally fell into real estate. So I got my license, intentionally with a purpose. Now that purpose obviously evolved over the years, but that was my initial reasoning behind getting my license. And in joining Signature, it was one of a few brokerages I'd interviewed at, and it just felt very family-oriented and very comfortable for me. My interview was with Ben directly, and he was so welcoming. And I said, okay, this is a great place to hang my license. Now, for those of you who are listening who might not know Ben Schachter, he is like Energizer Bunny, excited, loud, obnoxious, fun person I've ever met. He is
not
just
direct at all.
No, exactly. Like he is the most direct, to the point, but also he makes things so much fun. And as an 18-year-old, I was a freshman in college. I was pre-law. Those classes were boring as sin, and Ben's were fun. And so I started going to his classes solely because they were so entertaining, and I was drawn to that. I'm very energetic. I'm very hyper, and I loved his teaching style. And what I quickly decided to do was follow and emulate what he was saying, not necessarily because I was the smartest person in the room and, like you said, knew to follow him. It was a little bit more of a game to me where I was like, okay, I have no sphere of influence. I've never had a job before real estate aside from maybe babysitting and aside from the non-income producing but big positions that I'd already filled at the time. And Ben teaches you everything that you need to know to be successful. So I started following it almost as a test to see how serious this guy was, because he was so confident in everything he spoke about. And I quickly learned. I had my first listing maybe 2 weeks into the business, first closing a month in. And he taught me very quickly that when you follow people who do it right and you listen, that the potential is really limitless. Like there's no shortage in deals. There's no shortage in opportunities. You just have to be the one to seek it out and find it. And that's really the biggest lesson I've learned from Ben.
I will say one thing, and I think, and maybe as you're telling the story, it's coming to me. You talk a lot about following systems, and you talk a lot about people that get in their own way because they get in their own head and they overthink things, and they're their biggest kind of block.
You being me.
You being you, me, about to say, I am one of those people that can get in my own way a lot of times because I overthink things and I think, well, what if this doesn't go this way? What if this so there's a million reasons. I think there's kind of something really cool about the fact that you were 18, 19 years old, because at 18 and 19 years old, no matter how much you wanted to be successful and you knew that you were on a path and you were very driven, I don't know that you fully have that overthinking, overanalyzing piece developed yet, because I don't think you've had enough life experience that can make you feel, I know how bad this is going to feel if this person reacts this way, so I don't want to do this. And I think maybe that was the key. I'm not saying recruit everybody who's 18, 19 years old, but what I am saying is like there was just a simplicity to it. You didn't feel like you were up against this pressure to like pay 1 million bills and do all this stuff and prove yourself as a real estate agent. You kind of went into it for fun. And so it was just a game to you. And so it was treated as such. You weren't afraid to fail because you weren't looking to succeed, and it just kind of worked out.
No, for sure. The running joke in my life was always I'm the least competitive person. Like I'd be playing sports as a kid and I would sit in the middle of the field because I would get bored and tired. And like you laugh, but it's so serious. Like I'm just not a competitive person by nature. And real estate has taught me.
I'm laughing because I understand why you and Sarah get along. Sarah's the same way.
Oh, 100%. Like if it's not a game that I want to play, it's a game, like it's serious,
I'm
right?
actually nothing like that.
I know, but it's opposite. Like you are like very focused when there's a goal given to you. And for me, I'm not like that. Like I don't need to have a goal. Like I have to have an interest in it myself.
Yeah.
So like if I gave you a task and I said, Sarah, go figure this out, 100% by tomorrow, I'd have an answer. Whether it's the right one, whether you would rethink it and evolve it 100,000 times, like
Correct.
Sports is perfect for you because you're the type of person who needs to fix problems. That's not me.
Biggest fixer.
I like to figure them out myself. And if I'm interested in it, I'll go all the way. But I'm always playing a game against myself. So for me, it wasn't let me go against 1,000 different realtors in my company and see if I can become number one.
You're going
or let me
against
see,
you.
I was going against myself. I was going against, let's see how far I could take this little game and how funny it would be and how entertaining it could have, like it could turn into and what possibilities can come from it. But it really was never, for me at least at the beginning, it was never this, I need to succeed and thrive in real estate. It was, okay, this is a stepping stone onto law school and onto divorce law, and where is this next step going to take me? And I feel like that's the big difference.
Do you ever still think about being a lawyer?
No, never.
There's comfort zones. I'll tell a story that I don't know if Sarah wants me to share it or
I
not.
can't wait. This is going to be so fun.
It's a conversation we had last week. And, I think that there's a frustration level sometimes when, I was asking and pushing Sarah to kind of do something a certain way that was not necessarily how she wanted to do it. And, I said to her, and so she was getting a little frustrated. And so we had a little business meeting, little sit down. And part of that sit down was, listen, at the end of the day, I don't really care what you do. You can do it however you want. But it's up to you. You are doing the actions that are going to make you a certain amount of money. Now, I can help you make double that money, but you need to get a little uncomfortable and you need to follow some of the activities that I can teach you to do to make that. If you've already made it once before, it's really easy, right? To become a millionaire, once you have a recipe for it, it's not hard to do. You know the activities that require. You know who you have to surround yourself with. And it's let's say in your world, it's the best of the best. Right? You want to surround yourself with other top agents. You want to surround yourself with, it's hard to make a ton of money working on $100,000, $200,000 transactions on your side of the world. The more that you get into luxury, you're in Highland Beach, you've got a really nice area, you can start to specialize. I know you do a lot of condos. So there's a lot of ways to turn up. And then also it's that networking. Of just really making sure you surround yourself with the best of the best. And I think that sometimes doing those activities that aren't fun, and I know that a lot of that stuff is what Ben preaches. Being a real estate agent is not easy. There are times when it sounds like it's easy to an average person if your phone just rings. And just like if my phone just rings and someone wants a loan because the rates are 2.5%, yes, that's easy when we have that. But it hasn't been that easy. And there are activities that you have to do that get a little uncomfortable. So tell someone what it's like to be a young female real estate agent and what do you have to do out there to go fight and win?
Yeah, so if we're talking about like the secrets of the trade or secrets of the industry or whatever it is, I was taught right away to cold call. that was my thing. I was 18. I had never sold.
You don't even need to look in my direction. You're
The phone is your friend in sales, people.
The phone is your friend for sure. And for me, it was this, position that I was in. If you think about it, initially when I got my license, I was under this completely false interpretation, conception that people I was meeting at these events, these networking events, high profile networking events, I'm talking CEOs of Fortune 500 companies and higher. And I was like, one of them is just going to meet this young 18-year-old and think I'm cute and want to give me a shot and want to be my first, right? And that wasn't the case. And so Ben quickly explained to me that when you're handling people's biggest transactions, it's not necessarily a favor. It has to be trust. And I didn't have a sphere of influence at 18, right? Like I have friends and family, but I just moved from New York a few years prior. So my friends and family that knew me, loved me, trusted me, and would have wanted to give me the opportunity weren't here. And then on top of that, being 18, I didn't have anyone. And so Ben quickly taught me to be cold calling. I was cold calling 5 days a week, from anywhere from 2 to 5 hours a week. And that was where I really got my start. Those were my first transactions. Those are the people that are still the blood of my business today.
So talk about accepting rejection, because one of the biggest things you find with salespeople is that they, especially down here, they tend to get very entitled very quickly. And so a little bit of hard work, which is what dialing is, right? And it's a part of all sales industries. Hard work, the right script, if you want to call it, but just things like that are going to make a huge difference. So call reluctance tends to happen because people are scared of what they're going to hear. So how have you overcome call reluctance? Why is it that it's never been an issue for you?
2 reasons. One is, I think in many circumstances within real estate, at least, it's the fear of acceptance, not rejection. So I know for me, when I had started, I wasn't so afraid of the no's, right? If I got 50 no's, then the 50th no was just another one on the list. But when I got that yes, it was like, oh my God, what do I do now? And how do I prepare now? And how do I go on that listing appointment? And what are the next steps? And so for me, it was learning and mastering and perfecting my systems so that I didn't have to deal with the fear of acceptance. And therefore, the fear of rejection wasn't so scary, because if someone rejected me, I knew that the next call was a potential acceptance. And the second thing is this mindset of, frankly, I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and I know that, but not everyone in this world is mine. And so it's statistically impossible for me to like everyone and for everyone to like me. And I just kind of went in with that mentality that some people are going to say absolutely not, and some people are going to become my biggest fans and my biggest advocates. And I just need to find those advocates and those fans amongst the crowd. And that really stood by me with, throughout my entire career, throughout my entire life, is with friendships, with who I surround myself with networking events, is finding the people who actually want to support me, as opposed to the ones that I was finding didn't. And that's okay. And just focusing on the good rather than the potential 50 no's was really the key for me.
And it's really important to note, they're not rejecting you.
Correct.
They're rejecting your offer, your service, your product at that time.
They don't even know me, so how can they hate me? For sure.
No, but 100%. But so many people are so scared to pick up the phone and like, oh, what am I going to say? And what if they say no? They don't want to have coffee with me. It's like, so what? Who cares? Just call. So let's talk about that.
Sarah, how many times did you ask me to lunch before we?
Oh, wow.
This was the lead-in. Thank you.
We're going to make this
Speaking
the Sarah
of rejection,
show. I'm going to take over, and we're going to steer this into a positive direction on my behalf. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's hear it.
So for Eliana and I met you at my first Our World event. Mm-hmm. You were up for an award. Rising Star Award.
Yes.
And I was there as a sponsor. It was my very first event. And I saw your dad first, past my booth, stopped and talked to me for a whole, I don't know, it was 20 minutes probably. He was my biggest customer at the time. And we were talking, and then he mentioned you, and I thought he was there for himself. And then I saw you come up, and I was like, oh, wow, she's young. This is super cool, and she's here for the Rising Star Award. So I got to know you a little bit that day.
That's when the stalking started, is what she wants to say.
but who taught me
What
how
she
to
should
stalk.
say.
Professional stalking.
Professional stalking.
Personal stalking. You knew
I
how
know
to do it on your own.
Yeah. So I said, she's young. She's up for a rising star. She's a go-getter. She cares about her career. She cares about what she's doing. Let me meet with her. This will be a great start to this career of mine in business development for Choice Mortgage. And I called you and I asked you for lunch and you said no. And then I texted you a while later and you said no. And then I saw you, I think, at 2 events. I tiptoed around the idea of asking you for lunch again because I was like, she's already said no twice. And just said, hey, I'd love to hang out or get to know you better or whatever at a non-networking event. I'm pretty sure you said no again. And so a total of 7 times I either called, saw you somewhere. And finally, I think the last time I was just kind of bold about it. I was like, if you ever want to go to lunch, let me know. And I think that was my last ditch effort. And you're like, yeah, I'll meet for lunch. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. And it was that yes. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm taking her to lunch. And we went to lunch and we hit it off. And I can confidently say that I think after that lunch, you loved me completely and totally. And, we then kind of danced around the idea of doing business together. I knew you had a lot of lenders that were chomping at the bit to take you to lunch and sending you gifts and things. And, and then life kind of evolved to where we are here as business partners because of the Signature Choice merge, or I guess business.
We didn't send any gifts, by the way. There would be a RESPA
I was about to say, where were my gifts from you guys now that I think about it?
That's what we call the RESPA violation.
No, so I didn't get any gifts. I said other lenders.
Other lenders did send me gifts, and now that I think about it.
No, it's not in my budget.
I never got a gift.
Talk about, so why did she get so many no's?
Yeah.
Now I feel like I'm pressured. You said you can't stop me, but man. So let's look at it on the reverse, right? I was 2 years into a business that I now realized was a serious career. I just gotten my broker's license a month prior. And once that register hits, you get a lot of calls trying to solicit both partnerships and deals, cold calls.
Totally.
And so my name was flooded, passed around here, passed around there. And the next month, I win the Rising Star Award for the Board of Realtors, which is the award recognizing the up-and-coming newest leader of the association. And mind you, we have 42,000 local members, and that award is still one of the biggest honors that I've received at the board. And so after your name gets publicized like that, you get a lot of calls, right? People congratulating you, but also more so people soliciting your business. At the same time, you had mentioned that you met my father, so I'll go out there and say it. I am very similar to my father in the way of business, and I think he stopped at your table for 40 minutes. He had gotten word that I was likely winning the award. We didn't know then. So he came and he was there about 45 minutes before everyone else even got there. And he was setting up the event. He was so excited. And so I was, a little bit mortified, right? I'm this young girl who at this point was just trying to break away from this family, mindset. And I just became an independent success. And so I'm getting these calls from you between, hey, congrats on your award, and hey, your dad was so sweet and cute, and I want to get to know you. And I was like, oh my God, she's after my business. She's after me. I already have so many people after me. I just don't have time for it. I'm already on to how am I going to win the next award, and how am I going to get the next recognition, and how am I going to get my next listing and my next deal and my brokerage set up and all of these things that were coming into fruition. And so, again, when we talk about rejection, it was never anything personal. For me, it was this guard of, okay, now I'm in this new seat and I have to act a certain way to keep this and expand this reputation I've now built. And acting that way is no longer being readily available to anyone who wants my time. Right now, my time is valuable. Where at 18, it wasn't so valuable, right? I had plenty of it.
10 for valuable.
20, yeah. No, I was 19. You're right. 19, it became valuable now.
But it's the highlight of what she just said is that it's all about, first of all, it's timing, and it's all about the fact that for her wall had gone up, so she was more defensive. But it has nothing to do with you as the individual. It's nothing to do with your product, your service. So what we try to teach is keep calling, keep being consistent. And I know it's super annoying to be receiving those calls, but at some point, it's the only way that we can prove that we are actually going to be consistent and we're going to be doing something, constantly all the time to earn your business and once we have your business, we still want to prove that we're still worthy of your business. I think from our perspective in the lending world, we're always on audition. It doesn't matter. It's not just because we have a partnership, all of a sudden we care less. It's the other way around. My phone will blow up in 2 seconds if we start doing something wrong because there's a lot more accountability. And, the partnership that we have with you is something that more and more companies are starting to do, especially with, let's use this to segue into NAR because I want to talk about a skill set that you have that's absolutely killer that, somebody in our audience may want to take advantage of. But the whole concept with NAR is, and going into that was the idea of the buyer-broker agreement. And
my favorite topic.
I know it's everyone's favorite topic right now, but because a lot of real estate brokers are recognizing it's going to be harder to have, it may not be for you. You may be able to get your full commission on everything, but there will be a lot of real estate agents that will not. So when those real estate agents make less money, it means most real estate broker owners make less money as well. Because of that, they are partnering in some sort of revenue sharing model with lenders like ourselves. And it's something that's happening nationally all across, the big boys, the little boys, all over the place, right?
Big girls, little girls.
Big girls, little girls. It's not a he-she thing anyways. So all right, so talk about the buyer-broker agreement. I know that you and your brokerage are experts at it. I had the opportunity to listen to you speak with a buyer or regarding your buyer consultation, and I think that so many real estate agents are not ready for this, and they haven't come up with the dialogue that you have, how you're going to answer things. So if you can just spend a couple minutes and just give some tips to fellow agents out there.
Fellow agents, absolutely. Buyer representation agreements are something that I am very fond of. I think that they're not only important, but I think it's the ethical thing to do in the business. It's like we said, I was a clean slate at 18 and I was taught them right away. So it's something that's always consistently been a part of my business. It's really not new to me
So
as
you've
much
been
as
using
it's
them
new.
even though NAR hasn't finalized their stuff?
Correct. I've been using buyer representation agreements, buyer broker agreements, now the new name, for years now. And it's under the guidance of Ben Schachter, who I've mentioned is really my biggest mentor. And you'll notice a lot of my business techniques and my business savviness comes from learning from him, which is great, right? You want to learn from the smartest people in the room.
Thank
And
God for Ben.
what?
Oh, I just thought Sarah was going to mention me and that.
I'm really excited that I have Ben in my life as a mentor.
Gotcha.
I know. I wonder if he spoke about me on his episode. Just kidding. So buyer representation agreements, really all it is solidifying your working relationship with a buyer. And so there's this fancy name to it and people are so uncertain of it. And that's what makes it so scary. I know that you were on the class where I was speaking about it. And really all I spoke about is how I present it to my buyer. And the answer to it is the honest answer, right? I'm never going to lie and misrepresent a customer of mine. That's not how you start a working relationship. It's a form. I like to call it a terms and conditions sheet. It's a contract that outlines our mutual working relationship with each other. It outlines my expectations of them as far as them giving me proper guidance on what they're looking for, what areas they're looking for, being responsive, being responsible, being ethical, giving me the information up front that I would need, such as, are you getting a loan? And this way I can send them to you and get them started on that process. Any bit of information. And on their side, it makes sure that I'm ethical, that I'm upfront, that I'm honest, and it solidifies what commission, what payout the two of us have arranged, because it's not for me, in my opinion, to rely on anyone else but the individual that I'm working with at hand to confirm what my compensation would be. And so my method of presenting it is as such. I sit down with my buyers, same method with every buyer. It's very equal across the board. We go over our expectations. We go over properties. We go over the things that we've been speaking about. A lot of the times it's my first time meeting them. So we go over who I am, why I'm the best fit for them. And upon mutual agreement of that, all I do is hand them the contract. I have them read it over. It's a page long. and we discuss any questions that they have on it and typically get that signed on the spot with little to no resistance whatsoever because of how much work was done prior to me actually presenting the form.
I have a quick question, though, really quick. You have done a lot of listings in your very short early career. Listings were something that you fell into kind of first or worked towards first. And listing agents have a listing agreement with their seller.
Correct.
And that's something that's always happening, correct?
Correct.
Do you think that a listing agent that has more experience with presenting a agreement of terms might be more comfortable in the space, or you were more confident going into the buyer-broker agreement because you had listing experience?
So I'd say I was a clean slate across the board, right? Because I had buyers and listings right around the same time and developed the skills simultaneously. And so for me, I wouldn't say I was more confident because of having the listing agreement. I would say that it was pretty much equal. It was that I learned, it's going back to cold calling, I learned the systems and processes for both. And once I became an expert in that, I was pretty much ready to go. As far as the representation goes,
dying to say something.
No, I mean, Eliana's my mini-me right now. It's because a listing agreement has nothing to do, has nothing to do with a buyer-broker agreement. It's 10 times easier to do a listing agreement because of exactly what NAR is trying to stop now. Everyone just has this assumption the listing agent, the seller is paying X, right, wrong, or indifferent. She doesn't have to sit there and explain as much stuff. There's still a process to it. But what I heard that's awesome, I heard two things that she said. She has a detailed, defined process for exactly how she's going to have her buyer consultation. And then the second thing is something that we preach in our ops once for our client experience, which is sweat. Same way every time. Mm-hmm. Don't deviate. That's why she's so good, and that's why it comes across so natural, because it's not one time.
Right.
Your first time doing anything, right? Like, for example, the recording that we did for here, there was a little bit of struggle for one of us. I won't mention names.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, the person who struggled should maybe get all of the kudos because they are constantly asked to do things for the first time. Every time they do something, always taken out of their comfort zone, and are so quick to say, yeah, let's do it. I'll give it a whirl.
And look at the growth she's had in the last 2 years. I mean, it's just incredible. I know you get compliments on it all the time.
Probably shouldn't do that.
But honestly, that's what it is. It really is like anything. It is. I'm teasing, but it's anything you do for the first time. It's difficult.
Every day on this job.
It's awkward. It's uncomfortable. And then the more that you do it, the more repetitive you get with it, the easier and more natural it gets. Same thing with cold calling. Same thing with anything. Like it sucks getting that first no. Then all of a sudden you start realizing it's not a big deal. But anyways, all that to say, she's a powerhouse with the buyer-broker agreement. So if you are an agent that wants to discuss with Eliana or you want to work on her team, please make sure you reach out to her. And we'll, at the end of the show, we'll give you all her contact information. But
I have a question for you. In a short amount of time, you've done a ton. What age do you see yourself retiring at?
Why would she ever retire?
When I'm in the grave?
I'm not asking you. Got it. Okay. And so then where do you see yourself in 10 years?
It's such a hard question because I keep having all of these incredible opportunities. When I turned 20 and I got my broker's license, right around the same time, it goes back to, recruiting. And I had another organization pretty heavily trying to recruit me. Same way you were trying to pull me in, the same way I had, a few different companies going after the same
Are you willing to share how old you are now?
I'm 24.
Okay.
And
ancient.
So, what?
I said ancient.
I know, I said that the other day. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be 25 this year. I'm no longer going to be cool and young. That's gone.
Sold.
I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that comment, but it's okay. It's true.
You're so good.
So at 20, I had gotten the offer and speaking with my now business partner, Ben, to co-broker with him, right? Like to start our own company, to start our own joint venture, to become business partners and formulate a brokerage together, which now at 24, before we had just started. And so if you had asked me that question at 18 or 20, when I turned down the offer initially because I didn't feel quite ready, I would have said that my goal was to really dominate oceanfront living. I'm sure I've said that on, many podcasts over the years, and to really sell. And now it's evolved into loving to mentor. And I'm learning that I really love people and I love helping them and I want to teach people what I know. And so 10 years from now is kind of hard to look at because really I don't know where it's going to take me. I anticipate it'll be a lot of mentoring. I anticipate a lot of brokerage growth. I anticipate about 100 agents by the end of this year. And so hitting our first year mark anywhere from 50 to 100 is a really large number, and it only grows from there. And so I'm really lucky that the only thing I know for sure is that all of my partners and all of my supporters and all of my mentors will be around in 10 years. And the only thing I know for certain is that I have really good people in my corner. And aside from that, kind of see where life takes me.
I love that.
Where are you going to be in 10 years?
She's going to be helping me with all my mortgages. What do you mean?
I think we talked about taking up that office space at Latitudes, and I can do business development and mortgages out of there, and you could run the office, and we could have all of Highland Beach. 10 years from now, I don't know, I'll be old and,
True.
Well, younger than you, but.
True.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if I were to have my dream, I think it would be to grow the business development role for Choice. If I can tolerate you in 10 years from now and have a team and maybe deployed not just in South Florida, but kind of in states that we have business in. My kids will be well into high school. So I mean, chasing them around Boca and hoping they're staying out of trouble. Yeah.
I think 10 years from now, life is going to be very, very different in terms of what our industries will look like, what our company will look like will be insanely different. Most people are contracting right now. We're growing. Just wait till you see what I've got going before the end of the year. It's going to be crazy. So.
Can I see? Can I get sneak peeks into this or anything?
Yeah, we're
I'm
just
excited.
we've got a lot going on. We've got a lot of people that we're talking to and trying to create more and more partnerships and things that are going to expand our our footprint. And I'm now going to start traveling quite a bit and going on recruiting trips and seeing people on where they are, and then you invite them back down here so they can see where we are and. Try to grow the business as much as we can.
I love it. It's weird thinking about 10 years.
But it goes fast.
Far. It does.
It goes a lot faster than you think, yeah. Write your goals down. I think that's a really cool one, too, especially, write down I think 10 years is in business, that's really, really far.
5 years.
I would do it, yeah, I agree. A 5
3 year.
year. Do a little whiteboarding, lay out what you're.
Do you whiteboard?
No.
Oh,
There's
there's one thing that you guys don't have in common.
I mean, I don't actually physically.
I have
whiteboard,
everything
but-
very much tracked. I have my numbers tracked. I have what I'm doing tracked. I have goals tracked. I have business plans tracked. But I've never been into the vision boarding or anything like that for the reason that, pretty much the entire repeated storyline of this podcast is that I just don't know. And I like that sometimes. I like this journey of you're going to laugh because I love being in control. But at the same time, everything good that's ever happened to me has been when I've taken a leap of faith. And so
3 control people on this podcast right now.
Oh, I
I'm
can't.
the least
Sarah's
of the
the
three of
least
you.
for sure.
No.
Yes.
100%.
You're pretty controlling.
What?
You don't think?
No.
I'd say Sarah's the least for sure. I need to know at all times. I can't ride a roller coaster if it jerks me because I know that I don't have control over my own body. And if it's moving me and I can't stop it, that makes me feel too. I need to know at all times that I have the power and the control in my hand.
That's you.
And
It's not true at all, Sarah. Look,
Emmanuel likes roller coasters.
No. I'll give you a prime example.
Tell me.
What happened on our conference call today? I have gotten to be really, really good at surrounding myself with people that, no, I did hop on.
Oh.
And I saw that the conversation and the dialogue was happening and I didn't need to be involved. I let myself go. So I'm very big now on delegating and very big on when you surround yourself with people that you trust to do their job, then perfect. You've done what you needed to do. You put these two people together, let them go do their thing. Now I step back and I go recruit, go do something else, like highest and best use. And I think that to the point regarding control, and this is why I don't think I'm at all controlling regarding projects I'm not involved with anymore. Mm-hmm. It's your project, it's your project. If it's my project, yes, I'm going to be controlling until I let it go.
I don't think I've ever seen that side of you, but I love it. That's great. I cannot relate. I need control at all times. I can delegate, but I need to know who I'm delegating to. I need to know what they're doing. I need updates. I need to know what's going on, right? So a
micromanaging delegator.
Yeah, but if you try, but you have your team, you are building it now.
Absolutely.
As you build your team, as you spend time with people, right? So like my business partner was my protege who was your age when he started working with me, right? So everything he knows started from my tutelage, and then he learned on his own. He got better, he got stronger. It's true.
No, that's absolutely true.
And
of course,
wordsmithing.
Good wordsmithing.
Why?
Tutelage.
It's tutelage.
I love it. Continue.
You need a break, Sarah?
I'm good.
All right.
No, we're not even drinking today.
We're not even drinking today.
I know.
We're supposed to be drinking wine. But the point is that you get to, people always ask, just how the roles work. And when you look at other companies, and to me, like, no, it's his job is to do this stuff. And if he needs help, he'll ask for help, and vice versa. If I need help in the lanes that I'm doing, but you've got to learn to really focus on, if you want to grow, you need other people to do their job, they're supposed to do.
For
everybody on the team.
I agree with that.
Right.
For sure.
See, Sarah?
That was his backwards way of complimenting me and saying that he trusts me to do my job, and that's why he doesn't over control me anymore.
Yeah, you're not one of the jobs that I completely let go of. No, there are certain things.
There's
for sure.
There's another company out there that wants a really strong, fun biz dev person. Call me up.
So, all right. So let's talk a little bit more about not just real estate, and some of the other ventures and stuff like that, but just, I don't know, the fun side of Eliana. Like, what do you like to do for fun?
Did you start this question? Honestly, like I tend to be very easygoing with things like that, like outside the world of real estate. A big part of my life right now, as unfun as it'll sound to the average person, is work, but in the sense that I'm always going to networking events and always meeting people and always just working on that, like until I can, be in a position where I feel as though that's not something I need to be doing anymore.
Were you like this at 24? Because I don't think you were.
I agree, Mini-Me. Work is all the fun that I need.
Wow.
There's
but
he's single. If anybody's dying to go a date with him.
No, but it's good. I've gotten very into my fitness lately, so I go to Pilates every morning. A lot of the times with Sarah. Coincidentally, I walked in. She happened to be the reformer next to me. I already knew her at the time, but not at that level, not at Pilates. So that was fun. I walk the beach every day. I walk the beach a good 5-6 miles every morning, Peloton, because Ben makes me, and I'm scared of him. Scared of his rejection if I don't do it. So I do that. And then, like I said, right now, for instance, my sisters are all home from school. And so really been staying there a lot, spending as much time with them as possible. I have the closest friends in the world, so hanging out with them a lot. And then the mentoring program is really, it's a huge part of my life, right? It's a lot of events and galas and happy hours and socialization. And that's a really big portion of my day-to-day right now. I'd say that's a good 30, 40 hours a week.
Are your sisters all like you in the way that they're driven, know exactly what they want, know the path?
My sisters make me look, and I say this full seriousness, make me look like the biggest slacker in the world. Like my second sister, Kara, who's one below me.
Emmanuel's I'm hiring all of them.
That's all. Literally, my brain goes,
She had me edit her resume. She's going to
Tell me more.
grad school for speech pathology. And when I had to sit there and edit her resume, it was 6 pages long of valid, serious things that she had done through college. Volunteering, she's studying pediatric speech pathology. children's hospitals to Gigi's Playhouse, which is like a child's learning center, to being a tutor, to working with children who are like inpatient and outpatient at the actual hospital, speech pathology school. Like I'm talking 6 pages, like religious organization, sorority, and she had just under a 4.0 at UF, graduated with honors. And so, like, every time I look at myself and my resume versus her and hers, I'm like, oh, my God, I'm slacking. And same with the other 2 behind her. Like, my sisters are so unbelievably put together for their age and for what an adult would be. And I have no idea how they're as unbelievable as they are. But, like,
Sarah, tell you about our Blech internship program that we have that specific
I'm
for
sure
your
they
sisters.
would love to join it, for sure.
I mean, it's a no-brainer.
I'm dying for them to go into real estate. Like, they're all
Do any of them want to go in real estate?
No, they all want to work with children. They're these, like, little compassionate, sweet
The mortgage industry is perfect for that. We got lots of adult children.
They're, like, also, like, sweet and compassionate. And I'm like, rah, like, let's get this business stuff done. Like, let's do this. Who can I cold call today? And they're like, how can I help the world be a better place? And it's fun. They're good kids. They're good people. I always say that Kara is my biggest inspiration. Like, when people ask me, who's your role model, I'll always answer her. And they're like, she's 3 years younger than you and she's your younger sister. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you, she is the reason that I do so much good. If it wasn't for her, I don't think I'd be involved with as many charities or good organizations. Like, she really pushes me to be a good person and be a better person and work harder. And
have you ever seen that speech Matthew McConaughey does where he, like, his hero is like his idol or whatever, maybe not hero, his idol is like his future self. And he's always constantly pushing. It's actually pretty good.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. But
I'll look at that after.
Yes. All right, so let's wrap up here. Sarah, what do you want to know about Eliana?
I mean, I know a lot about Eliana. We spent a lot of time talking.
And working.
Huh?
And working.
Oh, absolutely. You've got a couple of deals of hers right now.
You do.
Yes,
What do I want to know about Eliana? So I know you were super driven as a teenager. We can say that. How are you as a kid? Like a 5-year-old.
You have one last question with me on this podcast, and that's what you want to know.
I know a lot of things. There's things that I'm not going to bring into the podcast.
Whoa, why not? That's what we want to know. The people want. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
I mean, we could segue. Eliana, you are a beautiful, young, successful, driven, dreamboat
very much single. If that's what you're asking.
Of a woman, and you are single. So, what does the perfect Mr. Eliana need to have?
See,
we don't know.
Fun.
We have no idea. I really thought that I had a good checklist of items that I wanted in a guy. And I think that recently, same thing, like I keep saying, I'm on this learning curve.
Yeah.
That sometimes it doesn't quite look like that. So back to when I was a kid.
But wait, one last question on that. What made you change your checklist ideas? Was it something, someone, just living, learning?
I think it was just living and learning.
Got it. Okay.
No, I think it was that I have created a lot of great friendships, and it's learning that if you're going to ask me a serious question and you want a serious answer, then you can't laugh. It's really just learning that, like, sometimes you are able to connect with people and you're able to learn a lot about yourself through that, and learning that maybe finding someone who's tougher than you is not always the answer, and maybe sometimes you want, like, a difference of opinions, and that I'm always very much like type A, my way is the highway. And I'm learning that, at least with dating, not always my way is the highway, and it's a partnership, and you have to find someone who balances that partnership.
Very insightful.
Do you want more about me as a kid? Do you want more about my dating? What are we?
No, I think we're good with the kid.
Are you going to find me like a good boyfriend on this podcast? Is that the new thing?
Yes, absolutely.
New dating show?
Yeah.
Meet the broker?
We're going to have a manual on it with you.
Not on the same episode. I'm pilot. I get the first episode. I'm on a timetable. Guys don't really have that timetable, so you're good.
All right, so let's wrap this up. Eliana, how can people reach you if they want to date you, if they want to learn more about buyer broker agreement, if they want to
Ben's going to kill me. He's going to be like, you got asked to be on this podcast and all you spoke about.
What's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
Best way is definitely my direct cell phone, 516-967-2636. Or you could always email me, Eliana, Eliana, at signatureselectre.com.
And nothing inappropriate, you creepers out there.
Yeah, please, nothing inappropriate.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been absolutely awesome having you.
Thank you for having me.
Loved having you. Okay, that's enough whining for one day. We are so happy that you could join us today on Stop Whining About Real Estate. So please, not only listen, but subscribe, follow us, download, share, and if you're feeling it, give us a 5-star review. Hey, and if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email stopwhining@choicemortgage.com. Thanks so much.